Hey, it's syndicated radio talk show host, author, singer Al Cole, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. I come from CBS Radio. My shows are nationally syndicated, and I've helped pave the way to treating women, guys too, with the dignity that they deserve. And I do that through very dignified networks out there, including the biggest airing CBS shows, and that's Apple's iTunes radio network. Under their professional news talk division, they air CBS shows, Fox News, BBC, NPR, C-SPAN as well. Hey, some of the best talk in the country around the world on Apple's iTunes radio network under News Talk. And I want you to visit my website as well, peopleofdistinction.org. You can hear my Apple streams through my website. You can hear a lot of celebrity interviews as well. And you can also see some of my alliances with people like Ariana Huffington, the founder of the Huffington Post, and her Thrive Global Network that draws millions, and other things that I'm doing, including being a media consultant. Immortality Now and Forever, How to Live Forever in Your Divine Body of Light. Our special guest who wrote the book, Reverend Dr. Linda de Coff, and it's available to you on Amazon.com. Also, go to her website, drlindadecoff.com. It's actually REVDR, lindadecoff.com. And you can check her out on Facebook, too. Facebook.com/TheRev, Dr. Linda de Coff. Now, Reverend Dr. Linda de Coff, we're going to go from one thing to another. Now, you have mentioned a few things that are actually physical in our world, and we're going to connect them to the spiritual by way maybe of the mental. We've heard of the mind-body connection, the mind-body-spirit connection. And starting with the body here. Now, you mentioned a chemical change happens within the body through the realization of love. I agree. You also mentioned carbon leaving our bodies. Whoa, now that's big-time stuff there. And I'm going to, this goes out to my listening audience right now. People of Distinction is a little bit different from other talk shows. As you know, you listen to People of Distinction. Slews of people listen, and you know that we get deep here because we understand it. We don't just ask questions on People of Distinction. No, we answer some of these questions too. We're talking about a lineage here. Dr. Linda is, when she's talking about, wow, the realization of love can bring on a chemical change to the human body. Now it's relating back to our actual physicality and something relating back to Earth and something relating back to you people, my listening audience right now, that you want to know about. When we know about carbon footprints and everything, this is relevant stuff here now. Carbon leaving our bodies upon some sort of chemical change that was brought on by, a love realization. Now this is big time stuff. And I'm going to put it back in your area. It's one thing to talk about it, as you know, Dr. Linda. It's another thing to teach it. And I'm assuming, and I'm only assuming here, that you also teach this, maybe in what you might call a coaching program, you might call it consulting, however you do it. But you're a reverend doctor for a reason, too. You teach this stuff. So we're going to ask you to teach our listening audience not so much the words, but what do you accomplish with some of your quote-unquote students, if that's, the word for it, in having them initialize that chemical change. And then do they talk about, wow, the carbon is leaving my body, or I feel so much better, can breathe better, and maybe you intuit that as being, the carbon is leaving your body right now. Tell us a little bit about your coaching programs that you offer where people actually do receive that beautiful love realization.
I'm not actually, although I'm available, I'm not actually coaching anymore. I did that many, many years. But I can tell you, I had one class where I had the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter.
Whoa.
And the three of them, over time, as they focused on the truth of being, the truth about their immortal selves, the transformation was just awesome. You, three beautiful, generations apart, and they were the look about them, the radiance was eternal because the light was shining so much. So stress lines, when you have faith, when you have confidence in the source of your being, and you know how to apply the principles, which is something I should mention just a bit. You every thought that you have is scripted on your face. Emerson says this. It cannot be Ralph Waldo Emerson. It cannot be hid. So if you're rummaging around with negative, hopeless, futile thoughts, thoughts of dying, thoughts of death, thoughts of aging, these are actually creating their likeness on your body. It's writing on your body. And it's also, affecting, for instance, one's heart. One's heart is, behind every organ is a spiritual principle. The organ represents some element of harmony that needs to exist. So if a person's in a state of anger and upset and dislike and of people, they're not able to perform Venus blood goes in through the heart and it is purified and comes out pure. So you're not getting the poisons out of your system so long as you remain in anger, and it's coming home to hit the person who's harboring these feelings or thoughts, negative or in feeling or thought, and taking its toll on the body. Because there is only one. Consciousness, spirit, mind, body is one. So the interreaction happens with a negative thought. Oh, I don't feel so good today. Yeah, the body says, yeah, I don't feel so good today. And starts to droop, and you have aches and pains and stuff come in. So it's a reflection of a mirror on what is going on internally. So the way out is to, again, consciously note. These are explained much more in detail in my book, and not only explained how these phenomena work, but also there are soaring meditations where at the end of whatever you're reading, and people do transform even while reading, but then you can apply it. I give you the tools, and there are wonderful meditations to go internal and be able to perform that alchemy yourself. So I really do believe that, we know there's so many wonderful things in the universe and so much wonder is available to us. But if we have no tool to ground it on Earth, in our lives in meaningful ways, then it just remains in the sky somewhere, disconnected.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with my work is to be able for people to really ground it and get it on a gut level and really get it in your gut. And although my works are very mystical, they're extremely practical. I would never think of abandoning somebody, giving an idea, and not a way to accomplish it.
Yeah, we get
it.
it.
And it's easy.
Yes.
It's easy, too. But here's one of the things. Where your mind is focused, from day one, unless you're born to a family of risen people, gurus who know the truth, you are slowly, brought from that original bountiful joy of existence and opportunity that the child has that you spoke of, and you become surrounded by a thought field, by other people's opinions, and to the degree, if you're not, the child is very susceptible to these ideas. So it becomes a closed room. Yet, on the other hand, if you are raised poor, you don't have a lot of resources, but you have parents that are supportive and faithful and give you and support you, you're going to feel that I can do whatever I want to do. You'll feel that force of love impacting you through them, and that translates into a wonderful life in very material terms.
Well, it certainly does. But
So,
again, I have to break in for time considerations, Linda.
yeah, I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. We got to. All right,
I'm
now.
not sorry. Please, you're not
Okay.
breaking in.
Good. All right. Now, we're going to end it with possibility thinking. I end all of my shows with possibility thinking, and that's a way to encapsulate both the spirit as well as the information of anything that was talked about through my guest on People of Distinction. I'm going to do it this way. If we did, as a human family, not as we're doing now, because we know that we're not doing it to the fullest, but at a certain point in time, maybe 10 years from now, 50, 100 years from now, maybe next week if we're really lucky, every single one of us knows that way to create that wonderful love within our life. And we have a society, particularly, that supports that. Right from the birth of that baby, that society takes that baby and says, okay, now the rest of your life is going to be learning about love, learning how to build more and more love in your life. And our society has all sorts of courses. Not business courses too much anymore. Love courses. Let's put it that way. What kind of world would that look like that it doesn't look like now, Dr. Linda?
Well, it would be a world where the full potential of a child would be realized. Each person would realize they are an individualization, unique, manifestation like the rainbow, like a rainbow, or the rays of the sun, that each has come from on high. You have only those who came from somewhere can return to that place.
Mm-hmm.
So Earth is where we unearth, our origins that are so wonderful. And so children would realize their expression. They would not have false, and throughout their life, this would carry through. And they would know that they are precious. They would know that they are of the Creator. They would know whatever they need is at hand if you know how to work the principles. They would be taught principles of existence. And people would, educare means to lead out. People, the educational system would look to not only teach the fundamentals that you need for communications, but to make a way for the divine spirit to, of that child to manifest what they came here to do. So knowing there's no competition in the infinite, everybody can shine in the sun. Mm-hmm. There's a place for everyone. And, the world would be from the beginning, now, fortunately, even if people didn't have great beginnings, they still at a certain point where they can become conscious and can really live a new life through that new awareness. Mm-hmm. So we want life to be about livingness. God is about livingness. Love has the only power that can engender life. Mm-hmm. Love is the regal ruler of the universe. Only love can generate life. But the principles of this life, when you're in a state of love, include continuous, ongoing regeneration. No beginning, no end. Infinite horizons would lay before everyone in terms of creating what they want, what they conceive of, what they can create, and doing better and better every time.
Mm-hmm. We get it.
So, yeah.
We talk that way on People of Distinction with Al Cole, and I'm going to cap off the show with a couple of cents of my own to underscore the great sense that our guest, Reverend Dr. Linda Coff, has been making in possibility thinking. And this goes out to you, my listening audience, right now. First thing to find love is to define love. And I'll repeat that. First thing to find love is to define love. Now, you've already defined it in your life in at least two ways. One is just by being born at all. Love is the mechanism by which you were born. Now, you might not have realized that at any point where your consciousness still remembers. Memory is a big problem here on Earth. But getting back to that baby knows it. Every once in a while, take a little bit of alone time, people. Get to know yourself again. And as you take that alone time, ask yourself, who have I loved in this world? Who has loved me? What have I loved in this world? What has loved me? Now, you might be talking about nature. You could be talking about a lot of things. You could be talking about music. You could be talking about anything that you think is a love orientation in your life. And as you do that, now you're putting a face on love. Very important to do. We cannot define love until we find love. Now, see, now it goes the other way around. But you've already found love in at least one corner. And now you define it in terms of, I'm re-meeting you again, love. And I like it. And as you do that, you and love are having a discourse on the inside. Your consciousness, which is your consciousness. You could say you're talking to yourself. Very good. This is the finest way to talk to yourself. We all talk to ourselves in other ways. Talk to yourself that way. The second thing is realize a face to whatever you are defining love as at that point. Wow, I love my spouse, my husband, my wife. I love the kids. I love, my mother and father. Okay. Now, define a love moment. Something that you have been through with the person that you love, or even the place or thing that you're defining right now, that noun. You put a face on that in terms of, I'm going to revisit that through some sort of visualization process. It's still within your memory banks, people. It still lives in you. And as you do that, now you're saying, I understand the reason why I love this person. I understand the reason why I love that place, thing, that noun out there. Because your consciousness is remembering the truth of your love birth to begin with. As it does that, now your body, that's the chemical change that's going on. Your body becomes more of an astral body at that point. Now you're shooting upward. Now you're meeting the love force from whence you came. However you want to define that. God, beauty, I define it as. If you want to define it as that guiding power, that beautiful love spirit that got you here in the first place, however you define it, now you are talking directly to that love spirit, people, through the beautiful relationships that you've had here on Earth. At that point, Earth and that divine spirit are kissing each other's consciousness. Now they are meeting in the light. And that divine body of light is something that now incorporates all of human and universal existence. It's all within you. You have that power. Start that power every day with maybe a prayer that goes out to somebody who you've loved. And then a prayer that goes out to somebody that maybe you don't like too much, in the name of the person that you love. Now you're connecting again that beautiful divine body to even the quote-unquote darkness to create light. Wow. And one other thing. Say that prayer also for somebody that you don't know. Something that you don't know. There are going to be a lot more things and people that you don't know compared to what you do know. And you say a prayer for somebody or something that you really don't know, and you put it in the name of somebody that you do know or something that you do know and you do love. Now love goes into that love energy of the heart and soul of the other. And even physical attributes have hearts and souls, people. It's going to come back to you vibrationally, and also to the loved one whose name you put it in the first place. Wow. This is deep stuff, and we could get deeper. But we always have time constraints on People of Distinction with Al Cole. And I want you to order this book, and then you can learn more about it. Immortality Now and Forever, How to Live Forever in Your Divine Body of Light. By our special guest here.
You'll feel so much better.
Absolutely, and you'll feel so much better through Reverend Dr. Linda Coff, special guest of People of Distinction with Al Cole. Thank you so much, Dr. Linda, for being my special guest. And I will say that your book, of course, is available on Amazon. And I'll just give your website again, drlindadecoff.com, and give kudos to Parchment Global Publishing for introducing such a fine guest to People of Distinction with Al Cole. ParchmentGlobalPublishing.com for all of your book needs. Thank you, Dr. Linda, for being my special guest here on People of Distinction with Al Cole today.
Oh, thank you so much, Al. It was such a pleasure.